that I'd like to shoot Gakpo in the face. Christ, I've just fallen off on Rainbow Road. I don't know what I need to do. Literally kill all the babies chomping away, but it's pure gums. There's no teeth. Right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Golden Sky. I'm Tom. Liverpool have just drawn 0-0 with Leeds United in the most thrilling game of 2026 so far for Liverpool. I mean, what an absolute barnstormer. The best game of the year. I can't wait to watch it again. It's going to be brilliant. We're going to struggle to top that one. That might be because it's our only game so far this year. It was absolutely horrendous. What a hard watch that was. If I supported any other club, I would have turned that right off immediately because that was awful. But this is the player ratings. I am not very happy, but honestly, it's hard to be angry because it's so draining of all energy that you could possibly have towards football watching games like that. Nevertheless, these are the player ratings. This is the Golden Sky. We do this after every game. So here are the players on the screen that played in that game. And we're going to go through them all and give them a match rating. So let's start with the person who played in the goal for us, Alisson, who, I mean, even he was bored. He was so bored, in fact, that in the first half, he decided to play a ball straight to Ampadu in midfield and see if he could score from the halfway line against him. That was how bored Alisson was. He was playing Mario Kart on his iPad all game long, and then got the ball, was like, Christ, I've just fallen off on Rainbow Road. I don't know what I need to do. I'll just pass the ball into the middle with the outside of my foot while I go back on my Nintendo Switch. Next thing you knew, Ampadu's having a shot. He thought, what's he doing there, the cheeky so-and-so? I need to save it now, so he had to save it. Then he started shouting at somebody. God knows who he's shouting at. I have no idea. But yeah, he didn't really have to do a lot, did he? I mean, Leeds scored a goal. It was offside. That was the closest, really, anyone came to scoring, especially in the second half. It was so dry. It was as dry as the Sahara Desert, that game. It really was. It was like a bag of dried fruit in the Sahara Desert. That's how dry it was. And Alisson, I guess, like, what do I give him, a 5 for that mistake? Like, I guess so. I'm not going to lie to you guys. These ratings, there's a lot of other things I'd want to be doing right now instead of these ratings. The darts are on, for one. I'd much rather watch them. It's way more entertaining. I watched the games in the afternoon this morning. If you've been keeping up with the darts, it's been absolutely belting. But aside from that, I've said this before in other videos, I'd like to shut my tongue in a car door, or shut my car in a tongue door, as I almost said. I'd rather do that. But instead, I've got to rate Conor Bradley, and he... how did he do? Well, he did all right, I suppose. He did okay for a little while in the first half, linking up with Frimpong. He was trying to get down the line. He was trying to make something happen. We don't really attack down that right-hand side all that much in the game. And when we did, we actually looked somewhat all right in the first half. It looked like we might have the makings of a side that could score a goal. That, of course, petered out into complete nothingness by the end. But, he wasn't horrendous. Second half, he had it in his mind that all he wanted to do was overrun the ball the whole game. That was his favourite thing. Every time he got the ball, he was going to overrun it as quickly as he possibly could. Whether that's a heavy touch into a defender, whether that's he's dribbling for a while and then he eventually just gives it straight to the defender. That was what he decided to do. He did have a near chance, that's what I'll call it, for us, where we crossed the ball in and he tried to head it. And then he got it again, and he should have passed it backwards, and he hit it, and we won a corner. I think we've now taken 100 corners this season and scored 1 goal. So that's looking good. Brilliant stuff. Glad we sat the set-piece coach there. So Conor Bradley, what do you even give him? 5? Oh, Konate's even got his rating. I've not even noticed that. Konate's already on a 6. He should be on a question mark. That's left over from last time. Didn't even notice. He's definitely not getting a 6. Although, to be fair, he might get a 6, because he was actually not that bad, I thought. He does like to take a million years every time he has the ball, and my God, it was frustrating today, wasn't it? Some of our players out there fossilised. We were taking that long to take anything in this game. It was absolutely insane. I mean, He also invented a new turn. He's seen Ragnar Klavan, obviously the inventor of the world-famous Klavan turn, and he decided to invent the Konate turn tonight, which is where the ball gets past you under no pressure, and what you do is you try and control it, but you actually miss it and let it go through your own legs, and then lose the ball for half a second before having to run around and collect it to then play again, wasting about 5 or 6 seconds of your team's precious time. That's the Konate turn. But what I will say is he actually put a few passes through in the first half that were the most adventurous passes of any player in our whole team today. There was one where he put down the channel for Ekitike along the ground. I think it was to Ekitike. There was certainly one he put over the top to Ekitike, the one that created our best chance of the game. We'll talk about that a bit later on. But yeah, I give him some credit for them. He actually tried to pass it forwards. We do seem to have this weird thing with us where we don't seem to be able to attack until the entire opposition team is behind the ball. And if they're not behind the ball, we wait for them. It's like we're being dead polite, as though, I don't know, we're maybe holding the door open for them. Or even a better analogy is you're at a restaurant with all your mates, there's 10 of you there, and 9 of you have got your meal. You've been waiting 5 minutes. The restaurant has actually forgot one of your mates' meals, and it's the worst meal. He's picked something naff like sea bass or something like that, and you've got burgers and pizzas and all this, and he's got sea bass, and you're waiting for his sea bass to come out, but you're all too polite. You could all eat your meal. You could have a nice delicious meal in front of you. You could be eating it. You're starving. You haven't eaten for days. You've just done a 400-mile cycle across the world, but you, instead of going forward and eating your meal and attacking and scoring a goal, what you do instead, obviously, is wait as long as it takes for your mate to get his sea bass, and then you eat. And then it's not as good because your meal's gone cold. You've actually outlasted your hunger. You're not even hungry anymore. It's just, you're filled up on your drink. It's just a disaster. And Liverpool like to wait for every Leeds player to come back behind the ball before we do any sort of attacking. And that's what we did today. But I don't think that's necessarily all Konate's fault. I'll give him a 5. He was not great, was he, really? And Van Dijk, what I'll say about Van Dijk is he's the only player who, whenever we have a set piece, ever heads the ball. I thought he'd scored when he had that header from the outswinging corner and he headed it down and it bounced on the floor and almost went in. I think it was actually quite comfortably wide in the end, but that was the closest we came in the second half, really. He's the only one that ever heads it, and I don't understand why. Konate is there. I used to say this when Joel Matip played for us. Joel Matip used to head the ball all the time from corners. He'd get it. Wherever the ball landed, he would head it, but he barely ever scored. He'd always head it and never score. Konate never heads it, but when he does head it, he tends to score. Think of him in the Champions League. He's prolific. Not here. And Van Dijk, he's the only one who heads it, but he goes up front at the end and he suddenly couldn't head anything. The gravitational pull that is on his head had evaporated at that point and he couldn't head it. James Justin was out muscling him, and I think it's embarrassing when we have to put him up front, especially when we're at home drawing 0-0 to Leeds. I mean, that is shocking, isn't it? He did his defensive stuff. He manages to play Calvert-Lewin offside, luckily, when he goes through for Leeds' near goal that they scored that was offside. Other than that, we really didn't have to do a lot of defending. He put a few good balls out to Frimpong in the first half, like the diags that he usually does. That was quite good. They just stopped dead in their tracks in the second half. It's 5 for him as well. He sent in a pattern here, guys. Pretty poor performance, to be honest. Robbo, God, he's like playing in a... If Robbo was playing, okay, the way he did tonight, but in a church league or a retirement league, he would be the best player in the world. But he's not. He's playing in the Premier League, and he is a little bit like he's at half speed, like a hedgehog, like a Scottish hedgehog out there, a really angry Scottish hedgehog. I imagine all hedgehogs in Scotland are dead fuming just because they're Scottish, and they've got prickles all over them. That just naturally makes you an angrier being. Like the ones here, I reckon they're quite, whenever I see a hedgehog, I think they're quite cute. Whenever I see one, I'd be like, oh, that's a sweet little hedgehog. In Scotland, I'd see it, it'd probably tell me to fuck off or something like that. And that's kind of what Robbo was. He's just crawling up the line slowly, putting a few decent crosses in, to be fair to him. They were actually good balls. We don't have anyone in the box. We're so toothless. It's crazy. We are like a baby who's got no teeth. When they're like a newborn, freshly born baby, straight out the womb. just chomping away, but it's pure gums. There's no teeth. There's no bite. Does a duck have teeth? I don't think so. We were like a duck out there. Not a very good one. And Robbo, yeah, he needed to come off. When I get to Wirtz later, but when we've got him on the left wing, we need an overlap. We just desperately do, and Robbo can't do it anymore. So for me, it's a 5 for Robbo as well. And it's 5s all round so far for the mighty Reds, who... it was not cardiac Reds today, was it? It was like... it was like... I don't even know. Local anaesthetic Reds just absolutely put you to sleep today, is what it was. There was no cardiac arrest. It was just straight up, we'll inject you with this and you will be sleeping in no time. Sleeping pills, Reds, is what it was. Gravenberch, he's the king of taking as many touches as possible on the ball before he plays the simple pass. I mean, the absolute king of it. You know, we just had Christmas. I always think about the Christmas story that they tell to kids when it gets to Christmas. I'm a bit late on my Christmas trend now. I know it's the 1st of January. I should stop talking about it. But I always think at Christmas time, when they teach kids the story of Christmas, and we tell you in that story that they tell to literal children about King Herod, right, who went around, he was so fuming that the rumour of Jesus, the king of whatever he was supposed to be king of, was being born, that he decided to literally kill all the babies that were in, is it Jerusalem? Get rid of them all, okay? Because I don't want Jesus knocking about, but Jesus obviously survived. That's the miracle. I think that's the moral of the story. Gravenberch, he's not the king of Jerusalem. He's not the king of babies. He's the king of taking too many touches on the ball. But that's where we've brought it back. I've got to talk about something tonight, guys. It's going to be a bit weird because there was nothing happening in that game. And if you wanted boring ratings, I'm sure there's plenty out there. But I've got to talk about something to make it entertaining. Maybe it's a bit of a reach to land on the Christmas story for Gravenberch, but he just takes too long sometimes. I don't think he really impacted the game today. Not really driving forward with the ball. Maybe that's what we needed at times to sort of break a line or two. Not got a progressive pass in his body. If it killed him, he honestly doesn't. He couldn't pass the ball forward sometimes if he was in a tunnel that he couldn't turn around in. He's at the back of the tunnel. There's a football, and the tunnel is just about narrow enough to fit him and the ball in. And the only way out is to walk forward. He couldn't kick the ball forward. He'd dilly-dally on it. He'd take touches, and he'd somehow find a way to pass it to his fullback. That's the Gravenberch special at the minute. He needs to speed up his play. Or for me tonight, I think he was poor. Jones. I always struggle when I get to Jones. I always struggle. So what I'll do is I'll talk about Arne Slot instead, because I'll link it back to Jones eventually, right? But Slot, for me, he does worry me a bit. I know we've been on a decent run, and we're obviously unbeaten still in however many games it is now in all competitions. We're on a decent run, picking up some points, but the performances aren't great. And we are crap at breaking teams down who sit back and defend. And we're not that good at making chances from open play or set pieces in general, really. We're not good at making chances generally, is what I want to say, at all, even when we win games. And tonight, like, he puts Jones further forward. Again, we've seen him recently part of the back three building up, and I think it's helped us a little bit to build up, because our play in build up is so poor, it is so bad. Just making them go and stand up front, the midfielders, it doesn't work. And he did that tonight, especially in the second half. Jones was stood up front. He was completely ineffective. He got brought off after a little while. He has played a lot of minutes, so maybe that factored in. He does a good job a few times in the first half. He's on the left wing. He's like trying to keep the ball. He's got good feet. He's doing his thing, like linking up a little bit. But none of it's penetrative. None of it's dangerous. None of it's threatening. Leeds are just sitting there chilling. No bother whatsoever for them tonight. They were not in any danger at any point. He had a shot at one point. Now, honest to God, I'm not kidding when I say that my grandma, who has no hips, could have hit that shot harder than he did. I'm not kidding. Shout out to you, Grandma. There is no possible way that was ever going in. It was awful. Slot, he does worry me like that. And like I've said, the way that we build up so slowly, the way we look so poor, the way our games are so boring sometimes. I mean, they are so boring, aren't they? Quite a lot of the time. which is worrying. It is, even when we win, we don't ever have like an exciting... When was the last time we won a game? 4-0, 5-0. We smashed the team. It doesn't happen. 4 for Jones tonight. Szoboszlai I also thought was really quiet today, like really quiet. And he's had a rest, so he should have been buzzing all over the pitch. First half especially, I barely noticed him. He ends up at right back. He was another one tonight, just taking forever to do anything. It's like, I don't even know why. It must be coached. It must be, because there's times when we have numbers where like we've got players free bombing forward. Leeds have got a few players left up from their last path of an attack. And Szoboszlai will get it. And he'll wait and he'll wait and he'll wait, and Calvert-Lewin will get back in position, and then he'll pass it to Van Dijk, and we'll slowly try and attack, and we go side to side to side. And it makes me want to get my eyes and just grab onto them with my fingernails and like pull each layer of eyeball out one by one until there's nothing left and there's just a black hole where my eyes used to be. And with each one of my eyeball layers, I'll put it on a sandwich and I'll eat it. I guess I've lost my head completely here, haven't I? So I was like 5 or a 4. It's a 4. Very, very neat ratings tonight, if nothing else. Frimpong, our only... Well, actually, there was one other. He was our best player by an absolute mile. An absolute mile. And you know that's bad when he's a right back who you're playing right wing, because your right winger is at AFCON and all your other forwards can't play right wing except Chiesa, who the manager hates. So that's where we ended up. Frimpong played right wing. He was by far our most threatening player, by far, by the way. At one point, he gets played in into the space. So I was like, knock the ball in the space, which we should do all the time, by the way. If there's any space for this fella, don't ever pass it to his feet. Knock it in behind. He'll get it. He's the fastest player I've ever seen in my life off the mark, ever. Mbappe might be the only one I've seen faster than him over a longer distance. He's rapid, this guy, Frimpong. At one point, he ran so fast when Szoboszlai knocked it in behind for him that he atomised his headband. I don't know if any of you saw this. He ran so quickly, his headband literally atomised off of his head. It disintegrated into thin air. He ran that quick. It was like magic. And then he managed to somehow make it reappear again. It was the best part of the whole game. And to be honest, the best part of watching Frimpong is seeing what his headband gets up to. It's something for me to talk about always. Never lets me down. Sometimes it goes over his eyes. Sometimes it falls off completely. Tonight, he atomised it. He ran that fast. He took his mile on a few times, put a few crosses in that were threatening. It was honestly, he was by far most threatening attacker. He struggled a little bit towards the end. I mean, like, the second half was, oh my God, it was so dead. Honestly, I felt like I was going delirious watching that second half. But he was our best player by far. I'm going to give him an 8, honestly. I think he was, for a player not in his real position, he did a really good job, and he should have had more of the ball tonight. And Ekitike is the only other player tonight that I can really give any sort of credit to whatsoever. And I'm not giving him loads. Let's be totally clear. I'm not giving him loads of credit. I just mean, at times in the first half, he made a few decent runs, like the one where he gets played in over the top and Biol is hanging off him like a cheap suit. I mean, it is incredible how Ekitike manages to hold him off, play the ball to Wirtz, who thinks he's got a tap in, and it's a great tackle from James Justin. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But Ekitike-wise, it's brilliant play, and it's a shame because he, like I said, the guy's hanging off him like a cheap suit, and if Ekitike goes down, he's getting the penalty, you would think. It was sustained holding, I think is the phrase they use nowadays. Well, it was pretty sustained. He held him for about half an hour. It was very much sustained. But because he doesn't go down, we don't get the penalty. And that doesn't make any sense to me. That makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know what they're doing in the bloody Wallace and Gromit cube. We'll have a little something for that in a second by the end of the rating, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, Ekitike made a few runs. Like, even right at the end, the very last thing of the game, he tried to like dribble through the whole defence, won us a corner. He's the only one who can beat a man sometimes when we're attacking. He looks dynamic. He was threatening at the start, like the one where he took the ball and he ran to the right wing and he sort of checked back on his left foot and had a shot, and Wirtz almost poked it in. He also had the one that was unbelievable where Frimpong crossed it. Brilliant from Frimpong, crossed it in. like almost a shot, and Ekitike, he ran ahead of the ball and he sort of couldn't head it towards goal, and he ended up heading it backwards. He actually headed it into the goalkeeper's head. Now, why on earth could that not have hit the goalkeeper in the head and bounced in the net? That would have been so good. It would have been undies on the head worthy, but it wasn't. And unfortunately tonight, the undies remained firmly where they should be, not on my head. So Ekitike, I'm going to give him a 7. He tried his hardest. He lasted the 90 minutes. He looked fit enough to last the 90 minutes. That's always a positive. Let's go to Florian Wirtz, who, like, he didn't have his best game tonight. And there was one particular moment where at the start of the second half, he got played in. Frimpong, great work again. Drove inside, played a good ball to Wirtz, who's like sort of in the box on his left foot. You want him to just have a shot or get it on his right and have a shot. And he like went on his left quite slowly, sort of ran towards the byline, did a back heel that was never on, and we ended up losing the ball. That was poor from Wirtz. But for the most part, it just drives me mental when I see him and he's just stood on the touchline the whole game. I just can't believe he's being used in this manner. It makes me so annoyed. And even still in the first half an hour, he was on the ball all the time and he was trying. He has the shot that almost goes in. I mean, it's a great block from Justin. Wirtz doesn't even know he's there. He doesn't even see him. He comes on the blind side and blocks it. He should have done better on a few different occasions when he maybe was in the attack, and he could have maybe had a shot or just maybe produced a bit of magic. But you are hoping for someone to pull a peacock out of a hat. You really are, because there's not a lot going on in terms of the attacking players. It's very stale, and he wasn't at his best tonight, Florian Wirtz. But I put that half down to Arne Slot, who is making him stand on the touchline as a left winger, and he is not a left winger. I don't care what happens. I don't care who we play against. If Florian Wirtz is stood on that left wing and he doesn't have a fullback who's flying round him to let him come inside and stand inside, if he's constantly being made to stand on the touchline as the widest player, he will be ineffective. He will be. He's not got the pace to go around players on the wing. He's not got the... That's not his position. I can't believe I have to talk about this still, and we're in 2026. He needs to be in the centre of the pitch where he can drift to the left if he wants to, but not starting on that left wing. He's so blunted there. It's unbelievable. 5 for him tonight. Then Allister came on, and the subs, they were just baffling, to be honest. I mean, okay, Allister comes on for Jones. I don't hate that one. Like, Jones has played a lot. Allister, maybe he could unlock the defence. I understand. He didn't. And Arne Slot must like the game to be as flat as possible sometimes. He really must. And maybe that's a reflection of his character. Maybe he's the type of guy who, when he opens a Coke or any other fizzy beverage is available, this is not sponsored by any means, maybe he opens it and he pours it into his glass, and then he just lets his glass sit out for 12 hours before he consumes it. And with the bottle, he just leaves that with the lid off until the Coke is as flat as a steamrolled pancake. And then he drinks it. Maybe that's how he likes it, because that's how he seems to like his football. Allister came on, did nothing, and that was it. So 5. Gakpo, this fella. At one point tonight, I will say, I'm not ashamed to say it, there was one moment in the game where I said out loud watching it that I'd like to shoot Gakpo in the face. That did happen. It did come out of my mouth. He drives me mental. We brought Rio on for 7 minutes or whatever it was, and he did more than I've seen Gakpo do for 2 months. It's unbelievable. He was at his classic, cutting inside, crossing the ball in, ignoring Kerkez completely. We were back to that. I've missed that a lot over the last month. We had an opportunity right at the end, a decent opportunity. We actually won the ball. We had a chance. He could have given it out wide. We actually had numbers. We had runners. And he gave it away. And I could have, honestly, if I had a double-barrel shotgun, I could have just took it. And if I was in a room with a lion, a tiger, and Gakpo, and I had 2 bullets, I'd have shot Gakpo twice. He was just... Oh, God, he drives me mental. 2, he was rubbish. Kerkez came on. He had bright blue boots on. I'm thinking, right, this could be it. Maybe an injection of pace, bright blue voltage down the wing. No, he put a cross in or 2. They weren't ever threatening. It's more than Robbo, who, like I said, was playing in a church league. Kerkez, he just didn't help. And like I'm going to talk about these three swords: McAllister, Kerkez, Gakpo. For him to take Wirtz off, and this substitution, it's just completely baffling. It makes no sense whatsoever. He should have took. What I'd like to see him do is be really brave, take Konate off, put Gravenberch as centre back, okay. Move Wirtz into the middle. If he's bringing Gakpo, McAllister, and Kerkez on, obviously Robbo comes off, Jones comes off. But take Konate off as the third one. Put Gakpo on the left. Put Wirtz in the number 10. Leave Ekitike and Frimpong on the right, I guess, and Ekitike up front. In the middle, put Szoboszlai, drop him back with McAllister and play like that. That would have been better. Instead, he takes Wirtz off. And I mean, Wirtz wasn't having a great game, but it just makes no sense. When we're trying to score a goal, it makes no sense at all. Kerkez, 5. Chiesa, he's had a haircut. That's disappointing. His hair was inexplicably bad, and I loved every part of it. He's had a haircut. He was just going mental there tonight. He just kept smashing the ball at our own players. That was something he kept doing, and then fuming about it. He tried to take a throw in for about half an hour at one point. Just stood there with the ball, waiting for someone to come so he could throw it to them. Just waiting, swearing away in Italian, I imagine. So that was annoying. He tried to take his man on a couple of times. One occasion, he went with the absolute slowest pace you could possibly go for a take on. I mean, it was like watching somebody with no legs run the 100 meters. That was how slow it was. But they've not even got prosthetic legs on. They're just running along on the hips. And Kerkez, all my days. Chiesa tried it again a bit later, went a bit faster, had better results, went round Robertson. There was a little bit of a tangle of legs. He tried to play for a foul. He didn't get it. That was his only impact. He was pretty poor, kept giving it away. I'll give him a 4. And then Rio came on, and he was actually a positive, so I'm pleased to say that. We're going to end on a little bit of a high. He was positive, really tricky, really like inky on the wing. You know, he's got skills to pay the bills. Delivered a few crosses, like uses the ball well. He's quite quick on the ball. He looked a threat, at least more of a threat than what we saw from the majority of the players. He did more, like I said, in his cameo than anyone else did in that front line on the left-hand side anyway. Yeah. But he's 17 years old. What can you say? I give him a 7, to be honest. I thought he was actually all right. To be honest, we ended up just with 80 million attackers on. And I'd like to introduce at the end of the ratings here a suggestion by one of you guys watching the videos. You know who you are. Thank you very much for this suggestion. I decided to implement it in the video. I thought today would be the perfect time, New Year. You know, maybe we'll have a fun game, Leeds at home. There'll be some goals in that one. We'll have a bit of a laugh at the end. I'd like to introduce you all to something called the Muckery Index. Here it is. Right. Let me tell you about the Muckery Index. Now, it was suggested initially with a slightly more non-PG name. Now, we did have to do a little bit of workshopping on that. I'll let you work out for yourselves what it was suggested as. Now, the Muckery Index is going to be used every match ratings for a rating or a summary, if you like, of the referee and VAR's performance. Hence the VAR logo. Oh, wrong side. Here. Hence the VAR logo. And it's how much VAR and the refs mucked around with the game. How did they mess it up today? Because they always do. Although today, it was pretty mild, wasn't it? There wasn't much going on in terms of muckery because the game didn't have anything fun going on at all. So unfortunately, the Muckery Index is going to fall a little bit flat on its first go. But I hope you enjoy this new addition to the ratings. I've coloured it purple, like the wrong side again. I've coloured it purple like the VAR logo. Hope you all enjoy that. And it's going to be rated in words, not numbers. That's exciting, isn't it? Every week. Today, we're going straight in. It's an easy one. It's lemon and herb today for the Muckery Index because it was mild as it gets. There was a tiny, tiny bit of flavour when the ref didn't give that foul on Ekitike's grappling session with the centre-back. And that's it. That's all we had, really. So, lemon and herb for the Muckery Index. Let me know what you think of our new addition to the match ratings here. But that is the match ratings. That is going to do it for today's video. I really do hope that you did enjoy. I bet you were all rushing to come and watch them after that barnstorming game today. It can only get more entertaining from here in the new year. That's the positive. and at least we didn't lose. But I was talking in the preview about a potential title charge. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, do we, guys? Anyway, I hope you did enjoy the match ratings today. If you did, please do leave a like on the video. We're trying to get to 30 likes on all the videos at the minute. So if you could, click that like button and help me get there. That would be amazing. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers as well. So if you are new around here, please do click subscribe. If you haven't done so already, help me out. That would be great as well. Podcast listeners, 5-star rating and reviews. Follow the show. And tell all your friends about it as well, to get it out to more people. That's the first video 2026. I hope you all had a good new year, and I'll be back in the coming days, unbelievably, to analyse that one. I can't wait. But yes, I'm going to go watch the darts and have something to eat. Hope you all have a good night, everybody. See you later.